Hey, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. I want to talk a little bit today about World War III. Is it coming? How's it going to come? And when's it going to get here? And things like that. I guess I don't need those for this. I was just reading. Did you happen to read where some Republican representative out of, I think, New Mexico, I don't remember their name, I think it was a female, I don't know who it was, is going to introduce a bill granting asylum to the Canadian truckers. well, that's interesting. Actually, it fits in with many things that we have to talk about, but we really talk about that more over on American Reversion. I just thought that I'd throw that in for anybody who hadn't heard that. Before we get to the gist of the matter today, World War III. I guess I should, since YouTube loads me up with ads on some of these, I'm going to throw in my own ad here. For those of you who don't know yet, my fifth book, The Blessings of Freedom, by me, Stephen C. Smith, there on the bottom there. It is now out and available on Amazon in both paperback and Kindle. And somebody has told me, and I checked, that when they put in Steve Smith, or even when they put in the book, that Amazon mistakenly has some other Steve Smith linked to this book. Well, can you imagine Amazon making a mistake? Well, I'll tell you what, they do pretty good on most things, but they didn't do it well there, and I haven't gotten it fixed. But anyway, if you just put in their search bars, The Blessings of Freedom by Stephen C. Smith, the Stonemont series, it'll bring it up for you, and like I say, it's now available. What should I say on that? Yes, we are. I am going to be able to get back to providing autographed copies. I'll put the information down here, so if you'd like to get autographed copies from me, you certainly may for this one or all the others in the series. This is the fifth one for any new people. This is the fifth one in the Stonemont series, and we'll take care of that. I will tell you this: you won't get them as quickly from me as you do from Amazon. It just takes time. You send it to your order to the P.O. box, and then I don't check it every day. I check it maybe once a week. I have other things going on. And then I've got to make sure, and we do have a tendency, sometimes we run out of books, but I've ordered a bunch in. And then as soon as I can get them signed and back up to the post office for you, then I get it back to you. So if you want it right away, your best bet is to go Amazon if you don't care about getting it right away. And you can read it on Kindle, right away and say you want an autographed hard copy. That's great too. And there it is. Okay. And for the guy out there who I know right now is saying, you just spent 3 minutes talking about your books. You're just in it for the money. And you just want to hawk your books. Well, then I invite you to come on and let us know about all the books you've written that you don't want to sell. Okay. All right. Hello, howdy, everybody. Welcome to everyone. Welcome to all the new people, both on YouTube and on Patreon. Everybody has been making videos about World War III. Why should I be any different, right? Well, that's really not the reason that I'm making this. I usually don't make videos about the things that everyone else is making videos about. Not, just because I think that everybody's covered every different angle as much as it could be. And the last thing you need is one more person talking about World War III or whatever the problem of the day happens to be. But on this one, I'm going to get in there because I do have some thoughts that I think I'd like you to consider. First off, and should you prepare? I'll answer part of this, and I might title this "Prepare for World War III," and that is an answer to a question: should you prepare for World War III? And my answer is definitely yes. Let's kind of go back and work up to that in a second. First off, I've watched this, so I want you to know that my answer and my opinions are based on many, many years of seeing this song and dance. Okay, I grew up in the 50s and the 60s. I remember Khrushchev beating his shoe on the table, yelling, "We will bury you." And we were all terrified. All the kids and all the adults were like, they were pretty concerned. I remember all the times, that we fought proxy wars against Russia or the Soviet Union at the time, all over the world. How far do I want to go? I played in the bomb shelter down the street. We did all the duck and cover drills at school. We were scared to death when the Soviet Union launched Sputnik, the first satellite, and we just knew that was it. I mean, they were waiting to take us over. They were waiting, and they were going to do it because they were so far ahead of us. We just come out of World War II. We were immersed in Korea. The Red Scare, the communist threat, which is serious, it is very, very serious, was on everyone's mind. Nobody wanted another war because they had fresh, unlike today, people back then had fresh memories of what war meant. Today everybody's like, yeah. All through the years, I've seen this dog and pony show replay itself over and over and over. Now, lest you think I'm minimizing this, I'm not. But I'm just telling you what I'm basing my stuff on. Since then, there have only been 4 presidents that have understood the Soviet Union and Russia. That's a problem for us. The reason that it's a problem is because the Soviets or the Russians know how to play us very well, and they do. Okay, the 4 presidents, you say, which 4 presidents? 4 presidents who understood the Soviet Union and later Russia were Eisenhower, Kennedy, Reagan, and Trump. Well, how can you say that Trump understood him? Stop it. Do you prefer things now? For all those people jumping up and down and saying, Trump was just part of the problem. Do you prefer things now? Okay. Did you prefer things back during Obama? So let's just let that go. Okay. All right. This really is time for some serious thought and discussion. What's going to happen over there? Everybody's watching Ukraine. Okay. Is it going to pop off tomorrow? Is it going to pop off in a week? I saw one channel talking about they were asking questions of other people. Do you think it's going to start in 1 day or 2 days or a week? Or who cares? What does it matter? And what the average person thinks has absolutely no bearing on it and no relation to reality because the average person knows nothing about it, right? Okay. That's the danger. That's the danger because that's how we get played. So let's look and see what's going on just a little bit, just the surface. We don't have to go into, what happened when, the Soviet Union fell apart. This stuff's been going on over there in Ukraine for a long time. Do I think that Russia is going to invade Ukraine like they did in Czechoslovakia? 1968, I think it was, wasn't it? Something like that. I don't remember. But they did. There are very few times that Russia has gone in to another country with the purpose of occupying that country, knowing that it might cause a head-to-head with NATO or with any other superpower. Okay, I know NATO is not a superpower, but it is because we're in it. Okay, very seldom, but they play games and they pressure. They are great at this. They are great at this because Russian leaders, Russian people think differently than Americans and Western Europeans. Russian leaders think entirely different than American leaders. Russian leaders are smart. Most American leaders are stupid. Most Russian generals and general staff and command staff are extremely smart, because the system of rewards and punishments that they use kind of assures that once they get up into the ranks. Now, I'm not a military guy. I was not in the military. It doesn't mean that I don't know about certain things in the world. Okay, this is something that I happen to have had an interest in for a long time. The Russian command staffs, very tight for the most part, think very much alike, because unlike Americans, who are always at each other's throats, Russians have this unbelievable centralized pride in being Russian. You think back to Stalin. I mean, he was killing millions of his people. He was starving the rest of them, and still they all loved Uncle Joe. How does that happen? These guys are good. They know what they're doing. And they know how to play it. They know how to play their own people. They know how to play us. You look at what we have. Yeah, we've got our Uncle Joe, who ought to be up in the attic, right? And then we've got, look at our generals. Austin, the Secretary of the Army, right? My gosh. We used to have good generals, from what I understand. I've known a couple of generals. They seemed like they're good guys. And a lot of the colonels and below that I knew way back when, would speak highly of the quality. I know that we lost so many of them during the Clinton years, and we lost a lot more during the Obama years. And then we've lost more still now, if any were left. But you look at Austin, you look at the General Milli Vanilli, I call him. What a moron. These people are just not up to the task, to be real honest. Doesn't mean that there still aren't American people who are up to a task. But our leadership is weak, and they're foolish, and they're easily played, and the Russians know it, and the Chinese know it, and pretty much everybody else in the world knows it. So what does that mean about what's going to happen over there? Putin's been playing this, saying, I'm going to invade, I'm not going to invade, it's all a hoax, it's all silly. He's going back and forth and back and forth. And it's kind of like the games that you all probably played with your brothers and sisters, in the back seat of the car on a family trip, where one would put their finger up there and the other would go, stop it, stop it, stop it. Mom, he's touching me. And getting all upset. That's kind of what's going on now. Now, they've got their breakaway provinces in Ukraine. I don't remember what their names are right now. Their names don't matter. The fact is that they are breakaway, that Russia has control of them, Crimea and whatever the other one is. They're gonna use this to push this and solidify. What they want to do is destabilize Ukraine. They also want to destabilize and cause problems within NATO, and this has every possibility of doing that. They also want to add to the destabilization of the United States, which is already destabilized, because look at the internal problems we have, right? I mean, not just this, but the border and the insanity that's been going on for the last 2 years with the sniffles, okay? Now, we have people in our government who want to bring our country down. That has to be understood in this whole play. Russia knows that. Putin understands that. Okay? Half of their presidents and premiers and whatever, they were all KGB. Remember Yuri Andropov? These guys have all come through the system. They know exactly what's going on. Well, we're bouncing all over the place. So they know what disarray we are in. A third of our country, hates America. A third of our country, maybe, are staunch patriots, meaning that we stand for not necessarily not at all the government, but the principles and values our country was based on. Okay, and then a third are just out to lunch. They just don't want to be bothered. They don't know. They can't take the time to understand what's going on. They throw up their hands. They think that it's very very cool to say, oh, I don't know. I don't pay attention to anything. It's all too confusing. They're all alike. See, and that's the problem. Well, the Soviets, I always say, the Russians know this. Everybody knows this. Everybody hates the big dog, right? That's us. For now, may not be for a long time, for much longer, I mean. But everybody looks at a way to, throw a shoe in the gears, right? Remember, that's where that sabotage comes from, throwing the sabots in the machinery. Everybody's looking for that, and that's what they want to do. They're already doing a good job. So what we could possibly see is certainly cyber attacks into Ukraine. Now, well, let me continue with that for just a second, then I'll come back. What would happen then? Okay, we've made the statement that if that happens, well, we are going to be coming back and retaliating against Russia. Cyber attacks back. Okay. What kind of mess could that make? That could make anything from, you drop your cell phone calls to everything's down, street lights are down, you can't get money out of the bank, you can't use any of your debit cards, gas pumps won't work, radio stations aren't on. It could be anything. I mean, you can run the gamut on that. What could also happen is everybody knows we have people in Ukraine right now, advisors, right? How many advisors did we end up with in Vietnam? How many dead advisors? We ended up with 50,000 dead. But it started off with a few advisors. That's the way we always start things, advisors. They get into a fight. Some of them get taken out. First off, you'll probably never know about it unless our government wants you to know about it. Unless they want to play that card. Russian troops attacked American forces who were there in peacekeeping, giving inoculations to the village children and all this kind of stuff, right? If they want to make an issue of it, they will. If they don't, you'll never hear about it. You'll hear about a helicopter crash on a training, something in the Mojave Desert. We send a ship over there. All of a sudden, our ship gets torpedoed. Did the Ruskies do it? Remember the Maine? That they said was blown up in Manila Harbor by a mine? And that caused us to get into the Spanish-American War? And they found out later that's not what happened. Remember the Gulf of Tonkin? Where an American warship was fired upon by shore batteries of the North Vietnamese. Never happened. We could go on and on with this stuff, right? I refer you back to War's a Racket by Smedley Butler. If that happens, they need something to take everybody's attention off of the economy. Simple as that. The Democrats do. They need something to take everybody's mind off of the economic crisis, inflation rates, the devaluation of the dollar, the fact that you can't find stuff at the stores, unemployment, people not going back to their jobs. This country's a wreck. This country is in the worst shape I've ever seen it in. They need something to take your mind off of that. And usually the solution, the answer, is war. Now, is it going to grow into a World War III with us sending people over there and bang, 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 and battleships and aircraft carriers and bombers and nukes and everything like that? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Now, could it? Yeah, it could. But I don't think that that's what's going to happen. Simply because, as stupid as we are, the Russians are smarter. And they will contain it to a certain level. Okay? And so I anticipate it's going to be a lot of border skirmishes, if skirmishes at all, a lot of poking a little bit more, cyber attacks back and forth, And here's the thing. The Russian people can sustain themselves much better under cyber attacks than the American people. And the Russian leadership know that. One of the reasons is they're used to being deprived. You know, when you're used to deprivation, you do much better under it, right? So they're used to it. Secondly, they have a national pride that is so much higher than Americans as a whole. So, you know, if we're successful with some cyber attacks and they can't get water out of their tap and stuff like this, guess what? They're just going to plod right on like Russians always have. If that happens here in the United States, our people will go stark raving nuts. They will go bonkers. And the Russians know it. And if there are any smart people left in our country, they know it too. Even the stupid ones know it. And they would know that that would be the perfect opportunity for them to say, for your own good, we have to implement these new restrictions that are going to make your life safer. Sound familiar? So that's my take on this. We'll see. But I would suggest that you prepare for World War III. It may not take the shape of the previous world wars, but that doesn't mean that the impact won't be just as great. So I suggest you prepare for World War III. And how do you do that? Simple, general, all-inclusive, multifaceted preparedness. Simple as that. You need everything. You need to have everything that you need to live without going out of the house for 2 years. 2 years. Now, some people will say, I can't do that. Well, start now, because if you don't start now, you definitely won't have anything, right? Get money out of your bank. If they start, you've seen what they're doing with the truckers up north, okay? If they start locking down bank withdrawals, I say have several months cash. If you can afford it, I understand not everybody can, so please don't come on here, anybody, and say, well, I don't work and I just, what are we supposed to do? I don't know. I'm sorry. But come on. Why didn't you prepare? Okay. I'm just saying that because I want to interject a little reality into this. Okay. There is no magic pill for people who have not prepared. I'm sorry. But get started now and you'll be a lot better off. Or make yourself valuable to somebody who is prepared. And I mean, don't go to somebody and expect, well, they're my brother-in-law or something like this. They got to take me in. No, they don't. If they're nice people, maybe they will. But you make yourself a valuable asset. Easy to get along with, supportive. Okay, that's my advice. Be easy to get along with and supportive. The more demanding you are, the less you're going to get. So do that. I would suggest what I broke off there was to have several months of cash. However much money you spend in a month, have several months of that in cash at your house if you can. And for those people that say, well, I know where to go now. Yeah, you don't want to do that. Because I'm also big, everybody should be big on security. Multi-layered security, right? Alarms, dogs, other special things. Okay. Is it coming? It very possibly could be. Get ready for it. Prepare in every way you can. And I'll tell you, I'll mention back to my books, for those of you who have read my books, a cyber war could result in exactly what I wrote my books about. It may not have to be a CME. It could be a whole bunch of disappearing ones and zeros and some little acne-faced kid in a bunker somewhere that pushes the button that the commissar or the general told him to do, and blink, lights out. Okay. Is it coming? I'd give it a 40-60, 40%. Yeah, I'd give it a 30%. That it will, 70% it won't. But you want to bet your life on that 30%? I don't. That's why I'm prepared. That's why I hope you're prepared. And that's why if you're not prepared, better get prepared. Okay. All right. I'm going to leave it at that and say what I always say, and that is in order that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. And the question, well, how well should we prepare? I already answered. How well do you want to live tomorrow? Okay. All right. I may have been a little hard on some of that stuff, but it's only because when things get real, you got to be real about things. Okay? All right. You all have a good day. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.